Hello, this is tuckbars with a Fire Alpaca drawing tutorial. I'm going to draw and paint this. So we opened up a composition, pulled in a drawing I had, and then transformed it and placed it in here. And it's a 1280 by 720 pixel composition, which is pretty much HD on most screens. And I put it on its own layer and locked it. And then we put down the opacity so you can see what lines will be going on top of it. And then we're going to create a new layer. I'm going to pen tool. I'm sure we're using black. And I think when I was drawing, I assumed a light source would be coming from this direction. And so let's go over some of these tools. Fade in and out mimics the most realistic to like hand drawing outside of digital. You have pressure going in, or you have no pressure, a little bit of pressure going in, and leaving pressure, so it looks like it's been hand drawn. And that's kind of mimicked on Illustrator with the pressure, changing your pressure. But we can get past not having pressure on this program by just changing the line weight, which is right here. Anyway, so we're going to start drawing and use the black color we can see. Hit B is a quick key to get the brush back. And it goes light, thick, and then light. The light's coming from this way, so it makes sense that it'd go thinner right here, thinner right there. And then go now up in that area. So I'm gonna do the inking on this and then get back to you guys when I'm done with it and tell you some of the decisions I was making while drawing. So we're kind of at a midpoint of line arting. You want a lot of these flick of the wrist kind of motions to get these lines. And Control Z is going to be your best friend while drawing. And it's kind of hard to see what I did here. You can always go back. So light source is coming from this way. So these lines facing the light are going to be thinner. These are going to be fatter. So you can either put like another line on top of it or increase the thickness to make it fatter. Stuff like this are going to go thin and then fat because it's facing towards the light on the plane. So let's finish this finally and show you guys how to color it. And we're ready to go. Some of these lines were just flat ones used with the pen tool. Some used the fade out. These pen tool, just the flat lines. I guess when you're not changing the plane of the light too much. We can go over that in our tutorial. Okay, let's get painting. So use this magic wand tool and you want to highlight an area. Oh, not working. I'm going to hide the other layer and then use it. So what's happening right here is it's not selecting a specific area because I left some lines open. So I'm going to fill in these little lines right here, leave them open, and then we can start. So when you're doing digital illustration, you always want to fill in these little holes. So use magic wand, it highlights an area. So from here, you can go to watercolor tool, which I'm using. Easy mixing is how I'm just going to mix with the other colors. Load color is how like vibrant the color is going to be. So we're going to take a brown color. Moonrock will be brown. I want to start pretty dark. We'll call this the very important 2. Put it on a different layer. I'm going to name this tone. Be the flat kind of real color of it. Make our brush pretty huge and then just do long sweeps. And when you're done, just deselect. Hit something like this. And you can use your magic wand to get another little area. Hit the brush tool and long little sweep. And you get these little areas. So do this for all the tones, so all the flat colors they'd call it in Illustrator speak. So now we got what we call the flat colors done. So you can see it kind of looks like a children's book illustration or something, you know, not quite super fine art. So that's where tint and tone would come into play. So we're gonna make two different layers here. Tint being color added with white, and shade being with color with black. So the balance between light and darkness is what's going to give you that three-dimensionality, take your art to the next level. So what we need to do with these layers is we do something called an overlay. So pretty much stacking the colors on top of each other. Overlay, overlay. So we're going to do all the tints. So we're going to use our eyedrop used with eye, and we're going to pull more light. And then we go to brush, and then we're going to go on top of the layer. We're going to add where do you think light would be. This is kind of curving towards the light, so it's going to be brighter. And you can do this for all the different parts of it. Eyedrop, pull some more white, and since the light source is over here, I'm going to put it in. And you do the same method as you did earlier. That looks fine like that, I believe. Yeah. You'd have to highlight the area. Whoops. Still experimenting with this program. Maybe I'll figure that out. You can use the wand tool again to get into a certain area and then just draw on top of it. This seems to be working pretty well, but you can get outside of the lines. So if you use the wand tool, you will stick inside of the lines. So I'm going to do all the areas I think there's going to be light at, and I'll get back to you. Make sure you're on the tint layer. You can even lock the tone so you don't put anything in there. And we're back once again. Sorry I'm pausing and playing so much. I want to waste your time watching me draw. A couple minutes. So we added the white tints to all these different things. Anything pretty much facing towards the light. You want to, general rule of thumb, you want to shade towards the light to extrude out. I want to give a shout out to Alfonso Dune and Drawing with Jazza for a lot of awesome tutorials. Taught me a lot that I know where I'm at today. So the last thing we need to do is the shading for different areas. So we can just eyedrop an area and then drop the colors down. So pretty much if you have three different areas, you can tell what is in light and darkness. You're able to make it three-dimensional and round it out. A tint, a tone, and a shade. That's the way to go. And get some areas like this. A little too light. Just come over here and drop the color down. Drop the light down. See how it just pops out. So I'm going to do this for all different areas that I think are going to be in darker. Darker because they turn it at an angle towards the light. Everything's shading towards the light. Let me get these value changes. But I can go over more of that in another tutorial. Or there's plenty of awesome other YouTube tutorials as well on the starting value and stuff. You can email me questions if you need. Alright, I'm going to pause it again and do all the shades. So last thing here, what I did is I hit layer, where is it? File, and then raster size. This puts all the layers into one layer. And then we're going to make a new layer. Pull it behind the first layer And if you want the light coming from this direction, use a gray, something brighter. Oh, something. You could have a lot of contrast to make a lot of depth. Use a bigger brush. And you can make that blend together if you can. And then I'm probably going to add some text too. Rasterize it again. So you're left with this, and I might just add a couple of final touches before we're finished. Congratulations for making it through. Just highlights and blacks tend to get faded out. So some highlight on the plant, on the stars, little white areas, and I'll add them. I'll post the final image. And then when you export it, you can just save as moon. I always put like fini or finished. And then a JPEG has a default white background, a PNG has a transparent default background.